Okay, future self, do an intro for this video because I am not doing it now.
And I think to myself, what a wonderful.
Right now I am with my little kitty cat who is freaking out, but she's fine. And I'm getting ready to attempt to make a Robin Hood hat. This is the second time in my sewing career that I have tried this. The last time it did not turn out so well, but the last time I was pretty inexperienced, so I'm thinking that I should be decent at it this time. So the first thing I did is just kind of scroll through. Well, I at first looked for a tutorial on YouTube, didn't find one. So because of that, I'm making this video, which hopefully is helpful and not confusing. But I'm probably going to be confused several times in this video. The second thing I did when I couldn't find anything is go through and look at a bunch of pictures on the internet of Robin Hood hats and just kind of try and guess how they're made and incorporate it. And then I went to the drawing board. Are you okay, kitty? I'm going to go over by the drawing board. Are you okay? I don't think you want me to go over there. I just got back from a 3-day trip and she's not okay. Shh, I'm gonna be... Okay, I'll be right back. Okay. So we went to the drawing board. And basically the idea is that this is the general shape of the pattern piece. And then this would be folded up and like tacked down. She's being very loud. And then basically there's different kinds of shapes. You can do straight pointed, so it comes to a point here, or you can have like a flat top there. This one has this bit sticking out versus this one would have it laying down flat. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with this one with a flat top. And the first thing I'm gonna do is figure out this measurement right here, which is just measuring around your head and dividing it in half, and then adding some because you want this to stick out. So your head probably is going to end right about here, I guess, maybe? I said I was going to be confused several times in this video, and I'm already confused. I think what I'm going to do is just make it the length of my head, and then we'll sort it out after I have something to work with. So let's do it. The next measurement would be from probably right about here, like above your ear, possibly. I'm making this up as I'm going around, to the center of your head. Naturally, it's going to stand up like, it's going to be like this. Okay. Yeah, and then add whatever you want. Okay, so this is what I ended up coming up with. We'll see if it works out. Just in case it does, I'm going to go ahead and run through my thought process. This line right here is the measurement that is half of my head measurement. And then from here up is my measurement from the top of my ear to the center of my head, plus some leeway. Then I realized that where I had measured my head was... right about here, and you still have probably a little bit more than 2 inches of space where your head, and I mean this will depend on your forehead size, but where your head is still that same size. So if I started going like from this point, started going immediately in, it wouldn't fit because I still have space where my head is the same size. So I dropped that down here. So this right here, this line is the measurement for my head, and I gave some leeway so that we'll have that Robin Hood point to it, theoretically, and the point can start going, but it won't be too small for me because it's right here. That's where it's going to touch my head, or should. Then came the part where you flip up. The important thing to remember is it's going to point, but you don't want to actually cut a point, because if you cut a point, I mean, it'll work, but basically your point's going to be back here instead of right here. If you do a seam, if you add seam allowance instead, it should theoretically be around here or right there. And basically what I just did is I kept this back straight because I like that look. And then I just curved there, and up here I did that. You're making too much noise. Hey. You like my chalk? Hey. Mittens. No, whatever. Okay. I did that square top. If I want to try doing a rounded top, I can always go back and do that. Or even a pointed top. I can go in and do that. This is the only one that I wouldn't be able to reverse the other two. So this gives me options. Really? You're going to keep making noise? Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to see if that actually worked. Okay, so not as bad as my last attempt, but not exactly what we're going for. So the first thing is this is much too tall, in my opinion. I definitely want to shrink it, probably right about here. And this, it doesn't fit quite the way I want it to, unless we were to fold that like that, which we could do. I'm thinking I'm just going to tighten it down here. So the way I'm going to do that is go ahead and turn it inside out and then pin what I want to do. I'm very sorry for the low quality. I am selling both my cameras to get a nice camera. That's the goal. I sold my cheap camera right off the bat. But my nicer camera, which unfortunately the autofocus doesn't work, which you've probably heard me complain about in previous videos, unless I've edited it out. Honestly, I know I've said it in several videos, but sometimes I'm like, stop complaining, you're so privileged, and then I take it out. So I honestly don't know if you've ever heard me say that before. You may never hear me say this before, or ever hear me say this.
I mean, honestly, I was too busy looking at that gorgeous hair to be paying attention to what I said. So whatever it is that I've been constantly editing out, I guess you guys hear it now because I miss my hair.
First thing I'm going to do is I want you to be down here. So I'm going to pin where I want it to be brought down. And this is the seam. This isn't where I'm going to cut it. I need to bring the head in right here. So now I'm going to sew that. I'm not going to cut it. I'm just going to sew that. And I'll get back to you. Alrighty. Much, much better. I like that it's, I mean, I wish I had a mirror in my room. I like the height from what I can see. Now this is obviously going to be 5/8 of an inch shorter. And so are these bits here. I'm tempted to make another one of these real quick that's more cool, and then I'll give my friend who I'm making this for an option between this one or cool one. So let me stay tuned for cool one. So this is the second design. I made another one that's based off of the Richard Green Robin Hood hat. I don't especially love it. This one, I don't know, it's kind of funky. Alrighty, so I have successfully finished the mock-up and everything. I went and took it and fitted it on the girl I am making this for, and I'm just going to go ahead and give you a sketch of the final one that we did. This is not the first mock-up I did. This is another one, which I actually don't think I've filmed making. I just made a different variety using the same kind of measurement, so I'm going to show you what those measurements are. Alrighty, so this is our shape that I ended up going with. This is the one that she wanted to wear. This line right here, this is the measurement that is half of the circumference of your head. From there, this is the measurement, and probably not the point. The point's a little bit farther than the measurement from the tip of your ear to, no wait, sorry. Let me say that again. This line here is from the tip of your ear, like the top of your ear, to the middle of your head, which is probably right around here, and then you add some more because the way this sits on your head. So probably the line where the center of your head measurement would be probably more around like right here, and then you add more to it. So from here to here is the measurement from the tip of your ear to the middle of your head. And as you can see here, this is where it would end for the circumference of your head. This on her is about 1 inch difference. On me it was about 2-inch difference. This is a little bit wider because you want more to fold up here than up here.
I don't know if any of this is making sense. So on her, this is an inch difference. On me, it's 2 inches difference. And then I just added however much of a point I want. Obviously on me, it was closer to about 3 inches. On her, it's about 2 inches because you don't want it to overkill. And then as much fold as you want, you add from here down. It's just as much fold as you want. You can do a lot, you can do a little, just however much you want. And obviously you start big here and you want it to end in a point here. And like I said, that's not actually what it looks like. You want 5/8 of an inch on either side. So it'd look more like that and like that. So that when you're sewing, it will come to a point when you're done. So make sure to add 5/8 of an inch on, or whatever seam allowance you want on there. So that is basically the pattern that I'm using and created, and I'm getting ready to cut it out of the green material. I'm going to obviously cut out, so I'm going to cut out, so these are 2 pieces. I'm going to cut out a total of 4 so I can sew them all right sides together so we have a finished seam down here. And then I'm going to fold this up, tack it down, add a feather, and we'll be done.
All right, so I sewed them together first, and now I'm going to sew them right sides together. It's going to work. Oh, and then I'll obviously have to leave like an open bit in the back so that I can flip it in. But I did that so that this inside seam wouldn't be seen. Hopefully this will work out. I'm thinking it will. Alrighty, so I stitched it right sides together, all except for this end piece here, and I stitched along here. And then, just to kind of finish everything up, I actually went and stitched, so I pinned the 2 fabric together and I stitched down this seam here. It'll just keep the 2 pieces of fabric together. Now we get to fold up the corner, or the edge, and whip stitch it down. I'm very excited. And then we get to put the feather in. I'm so excited. Should I put both feathers in? That looks actually really good. Alrighty, first I'm just gluing the feather in. What is up with my focus? I'm gluing the feather in after I positioned it the way I wanted it. And you don't need a, whatever this is called, head mannequin to do this. It's just easier. So I'm waiting for that to cool, and then I will stitch that up. One thing I realized while playing around with this is that you don't want to stitch the entire edge, because that will keep the hat from fitting. You just want like a little tiny stitch right in the middle. And don't stitch the back, because the back is meant to stick out a little bit, and if you stitch it down, it'll make the sides flop out weird. So just stitch like right in this center part here, like right there, or right here, depending on where your feather is sitting. Okay, I think that's dry, and it didn't stick. Joy. I'm gonna have to do that again. Alrighty, here's our finished product. Oh, I'm so excited. I will definitely have to take a picture of Anna in this hat, but I'm very excited. So I did glue it down. It didn't really stick. It stuck somewhat. Then I stitched here and here, like on either side. And then on the inside, I stitched on the inside, and towards the bottom, I started going through the feather. So I didn't think about doing that until right there. But that made it to where it's not going anywhere, which is good, because we're doing a scavenger hunt and there's going to be a lot of moving around from this party. So I'm very excited. Hopefully all of that made sense and you're able to make your own Robin Hood hat that fits you. Honestly, it's just a bunch of like fidgeting, turning the hat inside out and pinning it where it doesn't fit you, and just, you know, it's really not as difficult, and don't be scared to try your hand at it. So if you do try your hand at it, go ahead and tag me at the Swashbucklers Arsenal. I'd love to see your attempts.